Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Check-In. I'm Sara Lasky. He's Jamie Thomas. We are going to get you set for the final home game of 2024 for the Jets here at Canada Life Centre. And it is a Central Division battle taking on the Nashville Predators tonight, a game on Amazon.
Yeah, and also CJOB, of course, and Power 97 on the radio. Sara Lasky, Jamie Thomas with you. Still selling these at a very reduced rate, 40% off. Jet skier, you have failed.
You're going to get right into it. If you're coming to the game tonight, all of the toques, scarves, and mitts are the save of the game, 40% off. So
and it's about to get cold again, so this is the perfect time.
It remains freezing inside here, so that's probably why you put it on. Hopefully, our noses stay warm. My dad always goes like this. He covers his nose like this. I don't know why, but
people sound good when you talk.
Don't they? Okay, let's move on. We've got a great 30 minutes coming up for you here as we get you set for the game. Jets obviously coming in after the win against Ottawa, come from behind win, 4 unanswered goals for that 4-2 win. Look to do it again. First of back-to-back games. Now, this is game 2 of 3 and 4 nights, but they play tomorrow night in Colorado to finish off the 2024 calendar year.
And of course, the last time the Jets played Nashville was in a back-to-back situation. They had played in Pittsburgh the night before. They lost 4-1 to the Nashville Predators. Nashville in 7th spot in the Central Division still remains a surprise to me, considering all the additions that they had.
Yes.
That they are in the position that they are in. But as Scott Arniel and Niederreiter pointed out today, not somebody to look past at all. Despite where they're sitting in the standings right now.
No, of course, you can't look past any team in this league. Second of 4 meetings between these clubs. They play again January 7th here on the long homestand that the Jets have coming up, and then back in Nashville on February 27th. That game that they lost in Nashville, 4-1 was the final. Adam Lowry was the only goal scorer. Comrie was in net for that game. Yeah. We are not expecting him in net tonight. It looks like it will be Connor Hellebuck with Eric Comrie getting the start tomorrow in Denver.
Well, Scott Arniel has not done us any favors in terms of trying to figure out what the lineup's going to look like.
I know.
Because they had an optional skate yesterday and another extremely optional skate this morning.
Yeah.
Not many players on the ice. Both goaltenders, of course, because why would you want to make it easy for us at all to try to figure out what the lineup's going to look like, who the starting goaltender is. But I think I'll go with Sarah. So it looks like to me Connor Hellebuck will go
probably Nashville. And looks UC Soros for Nashville. Our guest today, we've got some great guests coming up. I caught up with Kyle Connor just a short while ago with our player interview, but Andi Petrillo is here on site with Amazon Prime. She not only does ringside for their Monday night games, but then also hosts a show on Thursday nights as well. So we'll talk to her a little bit about Amazon's coverage. Chris Mason, Preds color analyst, but also former Jet as well. So looking forward to a jam-packed show today. We also, as we have many people in the chat already, let's talk about our question of the day.
Yeah, for sure. So as you said, it's the last home game of the 2024 calendar year. So our question to you today, and I don't think you have to do too much thinking on this one, is who is the most underrated Jet in 2024? We're talking from January 1st to this point of the season. Most underrated Winnipeg Jet. I'm going to throw Vladislav Namestnikov out there.
Excellent. That's a great choice.
I was just more of a promotion too for the upcoming Ground Control podcast. I had Vladdy on the pod today. That'll be coming out in the new year as well. But to me, Vladislav Namestnikov, the most underrated Jet in 2024.
There you go. Lots of, shouldn't say lots of great choices, because I think that we give credit to a lot of the Jets. We had to go with underrated because you couldn't go with who's been, say, the most productive, who's been the most dominant, because you couldn't just put everything on a T for all of you. But it's great to see so many people in the chat ready, and people messaging too that they are watching from all over, whether it be Calgary, New York, Mexico. Hopefully it's warmer in some of those places, Prague as well. So anyways, great to see so many of you here as we continue to get you set up for the game.
I like this Matt Hyman. Comrie team has not done him any favors in terms of tournament run support.
So they have not. So Eric Comrie, and I understand that this is the role of the backup netminder. It is. You are going to get the tough starts. You're going to get the second game often of back-to-backs in unenviable situations. But he has lost his last 5 starts really and this is where I was actually just having a discussion with Mike McIntyre from the Winnipeg Free Press about how you look at goaltending stats sometimes and how they do not give the full picture.
Yeah.
And they can be misleading. He has certainly not had run support in his last 5 starts. The Jets have lost 4-1, 4-1, 4-3, 4-1, 3-2, outscored 19-8. So hopefully a different scenario when they go to Denver tomorrow. But it is a busy stretch for the Jets. As always, Scott O'Neill talked about how it was the big push and the rush. You get to the holiday break. Now it's to get to the Four Nations break in February. The Jets will come home from Denver tomorrow night, or I guess early in the morning on January the 1st, have the day off, and then they start 8 straight games here at Canada Life Center. So it should be a great start to the month of January.
Do you remember remember that? I'm trying to remember. It was 2018-19. Was it 10 straight games at home?
I don't remember.
I think it was 18-19. Regardless of the year, I remember it just felt like they had to go on the road at some point. It was like, okay, we love you.
You need to go.
We love you. Please,
you need to go.
Go away.
The Jets now 13-3-1 leave home. And interesting with this game here tonight too, that obviously Nashville, with the struggles that they've had, they have the worst road record in the league, just 3-11-4 so far. But as we mentioned, cannot overlook them, especially because they do have the firepower that they have that has been generating a little bit more firepower that has also been very productive of late. The Winnipeg Jets top line.
Yeah, it's unreal, like night over night. And you would think, that they would slow down at some point, but they have not. I know Mark Scheifele has 10 goals in the month of December. I think Kyle Connor has 20 points in the month of December. And let's not leave out Gabriel Velarde, but they have just been dominant. And you look at Saturday when Ottawa was here, and Ottawa was playing as well as they had been. They're up 2-0, and then the top line goes to work. And you could just, when they tied the game up at 2, and I'm talking about the Mark Scheifele goal, it's a beautiful pass from Nikolai Ehlers. You could just sense the sends deflating a little bit. And Ottawa's in that place right now in their franchise history where they're trying to get back, to the top again. But you realize just how fragile they are after that second goal went in, because Winnipeg just took over from that point. The top line from Ottawa was okay. They're great on the power play, but the 5-on-5, of course, Adam Lowry line went up against them for most of the night. And then even the Scheifele line ended up running up against them for the second half of the game too as well. So it's just very interesting where Ottawa realizes where they have to get to is where the Jets are right now. And it's all thanks to their top line, which has just been completely dominant.
Yeah. So Mark Scheifele, it was announced just a short while ago, about 40 minutes or so, that he is the first star of the week. Across the league. You look at it, 4 goals.
I just drew this 5 seconds ago. Thank you.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job with it.
Yeah, it was really hard getting that mouth guard the way it is right there, but I mean, it's done.
But you did it.
Yeah. Just had some time in my hands. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, a wonderful job by that. So congratulations to Mark Scheifele. I had one of the guy that does stats for the TSN broadcast. I had him ask Sportlogic some questions yesterday about the top line that I want to know. So the top line has been on the ice for more 5-on-5 goals than any other line in the NHL. So 28 goals they've been on for. That doesn't just count their line or those 3 in terms of Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde. It also includes when the blue line has scored as well. But they have certainly been incredibly productive. And as I mentioned, I caught up with Kyle Connor just a short while ago. It's a home game before the calendar switches over to 2025. You're playing against Nashville here tonight. It's another Central Division battle. What is it that your group needs to key in?
Obviously we played them early in the year and they got the best of us in their building. We want to come out strong. We've been focused on our starts, and we didn't get to that right away last game, but we stuck with it and played a full 60 minutes, and we were able to come on top.
You look at the productivity that your line has been able to have, and I know we ask you guys all about it all the time, but when you look at the chemistry that you and Mark have, is it because you guys have played together for so long? Is it something that you continue to work on in communication? What do you attribute it to?
Yeah, I think that type of chemistry never stops developing. You got to keep learning from each other, and teams and defensemen are doing different things to adjust to us, and we got to be flexible. And there's obviously a history there of knowing where each other's going to be, what they like to do, where they like to open up for a one-timer. At the same time, it's a continuing learning process for both of us.
What's one of the things that you've learned from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think when he has the puck behind the net, just know that it's going to just be ready to shoot at any moment. Any moment. You saw the goal last game where he found me in the slot for a one-timer. He's so skilled at kind of holding out defenders and never being out of the play when you think the defender has a good stick on him. He can move around him or slip it under their stick to find me. So just always be ready to shoot in that spot.
Are you a New Year's resolution guy?
Not really.
No, it's okay. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not into New Year's resolutions either. But when you think about this time, you go back on 2024 as a calendar year for it. What are one of the things that stands out to you most about this Jets group?
I think just the people and the relationship, and obviously we've had some good games in regular seasons and some good moments and a lot of memories throughout the year. But I think I just look back and all the memories we share off the ice on the planes, getting in late in hotels, and it's such a good group of guys. And you see it on the ice where we're able to bond together and play as a close knit group.
Thanks so much for the time. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Kyle Connor on a roll.
The whole line is, and they look to continue it tonight as well. I love some of the comments from people. Neil Pionk being underrated. Certainly, he has had a bounce back season after an off season for him last year, but a number of different options out there for is some people pointing out, of course, a comment that I think a lot of people have made that Mark Scheifele, after not being made a part of Team Canada for Four Nations, what a tear he has been on. And so they look to continue it tonight.
I think so. A lot of people like to point to Scheif not making Team Canada as the catalyst of why he's on a tear right now, but I think Scheif's a bigger professional than that. Yes. I don't think you look at that as it was pointed out to me. I was on Edmonton radio. Zach Hyman's actually been playing really well since the team announcement. So, I mean, you could look at that as a reason why, but I think team success is more important, clearly, to Mark Scheifele. But it is a fun storyline to say, hey, Don
you got to find something
sometimes for it. Hey, Don Sweeney, this is what he has done. So Danny Boy also saying the most underrated Jet, Eric Comrie, so far in 2024. Can't go wrong with that one because he's been one addition or re-addition for the Jets with Eric Comrie.
Absolutely. The Jets will finish this calendar year with the most wins in the NHL in a calendar year, 56 and counting. So it could get up to 58. They are 9-3 against the Central Division. And we should have Andi Petrillo on with us in just a couple of minutes to talk a little bit more about this game tonight. I see people in the comments still trying to adjust to Amazon's coverage and where to find it. I think we all get so set in our routine, but certainly Amazon, we've seen what some of the new productions have been and what they've done in terms of expanded coverage for the NHL. So we'll have the opportunity in just a couple of minutes to be able to talk to her a little bit more about it. And they always have features going too. So looking forward to hearing who that's going to be on tonight.
Well, you just look, this is the way things are going. That's just the way. And you look at what Netflix did on Christmas Day with the National Football League and all the eyes that were on the NFL because of that. That just is, we all have to adapt.
Yes.
That's just the way things are going to go. So looking forward to hearing what Andi has to say about their coverage.
Yes. Connor Hellebuyck coming into tonight, 2 wins away from 300, which we know is going to be a big milestone for him when he hits it. One of those key numbers for a goaltender. Only active goalies with 300 plus wins. Fleury.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bobrovsky, Quick, and Vasilevsky. So
pretty good names there.
Yeah, not too shabby for it. There's a couple of interesting things I was looking on yesterday with just, again, the tear that Hellebuyck has been on this season as well and the job that he has done. He and Jussi Saros both kind of leading the way in terms of shots faced, in terms of minutes played.
There was back and forth.
Exactly. So it should be a great battle here tonight. But it was this comment that I had seen, or this post was related to Hellebuyck being the front runner right now to win the Vezina again, and that there's only one goaltender in the 2000s that has won 3 Vezinas, and that would be Martin Brodeur. But hard to argue with anyone talking right now about how Connor Hellebuyck should be the front runner in that role.
I know you've done your fair share of radio hits too. It's a conversation. That's one of the first guys you ask about, and it's just like even as broadcasters and team employees, you run out of ways to talk about how great Connor Hellebuyck has been this year. And he 33 more saves on Saturday. Ottawa, like I had a little push in the first period after about the first 10 minutes in, and there was Connor Hellebuck closing the door. But it's just, to us, it almost gets, we're taking it for granted in some ways, just how great he's been.
Well, I think that it's easy. Don't you think that, and maybe for those of you watching, chime in as well, that it's easy to overlook it when you have it.
Yes.
Because you don't think about it as much because he's just there and he makes those saves and so you just don't necessarily appreciate as much. If it's not there, it certainly becomes the glaring issue and you realize just how important it is.
I remember Jamie McLennan saying one time there's only 10 teams really in the NHL that can say they can count on their number one goaltender night over night.
Yeah.
And then with 32 teams in your league, that goes to show you how rare it is to have somebody of his stature that you can lean on for 65 games a year and certainly carry into the playoffs like they have with Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. Chris Mason will be coming up in just a few minutes as well. So we mentioned the struggles that Nashville has been having. One of the things that I'm interested in hearing about from Mason will be that top line. So they have reconstructed the top line. Steven Stamkos has been playing center for the last little bit, and they are getting production from everybody in the group. So maybe they are starting to find their group. Because as much as you want to see the Jets dominate against teams, especially within their own division, it is best for the league when you have parity, when you've got teams like Nashville, which is a great hockey market, to be having success. And we certainly wouldn't have anticipated the struggles that they have had this season.
And especially when you're somebody like Steven Stamkos and for that matter Jonathan Marchessault, who've been part of organizations as long as they both were, it takes time to adapt to your new teammates.
Yeah.
And that's where certainly I think Steven Stamkos had, and being a part of the Tampa Bay Lightning for as long as he was, you can't tell me that wasn't a huge adjustment for him and certainly his family at that well. So we've seen Steven Stamkos. We did score a goal in that last meeting between the Jets and Nashville on the power play. It was Dylan Sandberg. He blocked that shot from Steven Stamkos that has Sandberg out. On that note, Dylan Sandberg was warming up Connor Hellebuck today. And that's a good sign that he's getting closer and closer to returning. Still non-contact for him. But and then on top of that, we're not quite sure on the blue line because there were some heavy minutes played.
What we're saying is that the warm-up at 6 o'clock, still going to be a lot of eyes on it.
Yeah, because that's going to tell you a little bit more. But Scott Nielsen yesterday, they're going to use all 7 defensemen over this stretch here. Of course, Ville Heinola and Logan Stanley comprise of these third defense pairing. We saw a lot of Neil Pionk, a lot of Josh Morrissey, a lot of Dylan DeMello, but in snuck Logan Stanley, who almost just played under 20 minutes, because that for a guy that hadn't played since December 18th, very impressive for Logan Stanley to play as many minutes as he did and as well as he did because of that great pass to Nikolai Ehlers for the 4th goal by the Jets, a great stretch pass through the neutral zone to the Danish forward who was just flying and scored a big goal. So congrats to Logan Stanley for having a great night after being in the lineup as long as he was.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to see everybody be able to get their legs back underneath them, get back into that groove because it does take some time with the adjustment.
Andi Petrillo looks like, well, Chris Mason as well.
All right, well, let's get to Andi first.
Yep.
For it, speaking of adjusting back, as we bring in Andi Petrillo. Hello, Andi. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us for a couple of minutes today. It has been so great. We'll get right into it. It's been so great to see you back covering the league with Amazon. For those, you spent so many years covering the Leafs with Leafs TV. You worked with our good friend Dennis Bea. Yeah. You did Leafs Lunch and
Jonas Siegel.
So many great people out east for it. But you had stepped away. You've become such a central figure when it comes to the CBC's Olympic coverage, amateur sports, obviously the work that you do with soccer as well. But you're back covering hockey a couple of times a week now with Amazon's new packages. What is it like being back covering a league that I know you love?
Yeah, I just got a little LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. It's been great. I mean, you listed off a whole bunch of, I've been around a long time, but I love hockey. I started covering junior hockey, junior B hockey, and worked my way up to the NHL and started off with Leafs TV and worked with incredible people there, and then Hockey Night in Canada and TSN. and then stepped away. Yeah, like you're like, it was just a kind of a thing that happens in your career where I was at this crossroads and things were really taking off with soccer in this country, as we know. So I was part of this incredible ride with the men making the World Cup for the first time in 30 plus years. The women, of course, going to the Olympics and winning gold, finally changing the color. That was their motto. And it was this like just incredible ride because I do love soccer as well. And yeah, being able to cover the Olympics and high performance sport is special. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like a little hole was in my heart because I knew that my career presented something, an opportunity that I had to seize. But then I was like, oh man, I really miss hockey. And when Amazon came around, and they reached out, I jumped at it. Like they could have said, we'll pay you a penny a game. I was like, yes. I mean, pennies even exist. I don't know, 5 cents. But I'm like, yes, 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 yes. The answer is yes. 100 times yes. And it's also because of what you mentioned. I mean, I've met incredible people in other, sports that I've covered. But I grew up, and my first impression of the pro sports world were meeting people like Dennis Back, like meeting these incredible people who became mentors and friends. And I just, it was sad when I felt like I left that behind. And now that I'm back, it was like a homecoming of sorts. I'm in the arena. Like even when I saw you, I'm like high-fiving everybody. I'm like, what's up? Giving everyone little finger guns. I'm like, yeah, I'm back. And it was just like, it was just like putting on some like, old shoes in a very good way that just felt very comfortable.
Well, I'm sure finger guns are not going to be part of Amazon's hockey coverage, but for those of the people,
they should be. I was gonna say, you can tell we're of a certain age because if you look on Instagram, they always talk about how you can tell how old women are based on how they're dancing with the fingers going up. Yeah.
Okay, we gotta.
Like, pew, pew.
I wish we could rewind that. So, finger guns not part of Amazon's hockey coverage, but. For those that are going to be watching for the first time tonight, what is Amazon's hockey coverage going to be providing going forward?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, on Mondays, if you've already tuned in, obviously, so this is also an interesting world that I'm kind of learning about, right? Because growing up, it was very much your network television and your linear way of doing things. And you're very married to tops and bottoms of clocks. And I know some people might be like, what are you talking about? But there's like just a lot of production jargon there that goes along with being part of network TV. So now when you're also part of this non-linear, obviously we do this really cool thing where like countdown to prime Monday Night Hockey, where it's just you allow people to just be in the arena. And a lot of people that watch it, like they've reached out to me and say, I feel like I'm at the game because you're watching people get their popcorn. You're watching people go to their seats. You're watching the players in the hall. Like you feel like you're at the rink and you're part of the game. Like you bought a ticket and there you are. So we have the ability to just do something like that. Then, of course, when the show starts, again, it's like quick and kind of snappy type of pregame show where you still jam in your analysis and you get in like sit down interviews or your arrival interview, but boom, right away you're going to the game. And the technology behind it, right, between the amount of camera angles and again just the ability to kind of just see things in a different technological way where it's X amount of cameras, kind of certain like the high def. And I talked to a lot of guys in the truck as well, and just the technology they're dealing with. Once they get used to it, they're like, it's on another level the way it goes. And the fact that the game itself also lives on our platform. So if you miss it, you can go back and you can watch it. It's the good old PVR, like recording it on your VHS. But now it's kind of like brought that back in a digital way. So it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, we're not inventing the wheel here, right? It's analysis, it's storytelling, it's interviews, it's all the things that a lot of great hockey people have been doing for years. We're just on a different platform and doing it. But one thing that is also pretty cool is the Thursday nights where, I also do NHL coast to coast on Prime, and it's bringing back like a little bit of, that NFL red zone to hockey. And we're on from 7 Eastern to midnight. So it's a good 5-hour show where we're hopping from game to game to game, bringing you the goals, fights, power play. Whenever there's something that happens in a game, we just check in on it. So that's been a lot of fun to be a part of. And I have rotating analysts, so it's always a different opinion. So, Amazon obviously they're in it. We all know face off inside the NHL, like kind of getting the players out of their skin a little bit here, right? We know hockey players don't really like to share too much or ruffle feathers. So to get that emotion has been really great.
All right, Andi. Listen, we've taken up enough of your time. So work on the finger guns for tonight's broadcast. And it's great to have you back in Winnipeg, and looking forward to having you back here again.
Just quickly, you were doing a feature, I think, this morning. What can people look forward to tonight?
Okay, yeah, I had a sit down with Mark Shifley,
and will that run tonight?
Yes, that will run tonight. That will run in the pregame show. So we talk about a lot of things, just from like, obviously being the first draft pick when Winnipeg returned, right? So kind of how that was. Dale Howardchuk, excuse me. We talk about Dale Howardchuk. We also just talk about how he's suddenly putting up a lot of points after the Four Nations roster announcement.
A little bit.
a little bit putting up some points. And I had to ask about the goats. So we'll see if the goats make it into the interview, but I asked about the goats.
Oh, I knew you would. If there's goats, puppies, if that opportunity was there, for sure, Andi.
I'm asking about the animals.
You're the best. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great broadcast tonight. We're looking forward to it. And don't forget, everyone, that you can also catch Andi every Thursday night on Amazon as well. Thanks so much, Andi.
We're going to keep rolling here. A guy that spent some time in the Winnipeg area. He is known as Chris Mason. And Chris, so there's two contradicting personalities that play goal here in Winnipeg with the Connor Hellebuck and Eric Comrie. What was your personality like when you played in the National Hockey League?
I've just am who I am. There's nothing, nothing flashy. I remember my first year pro after junior, I played with a guy, Tom Askey, great goalie partner. And that was kind of back in the day. Well, I mean, I guess Connor Hellebuck could be considered a little weird or goalie like in the a lot of the things that does and the preparation and everything. But I saw a guy that he was so superstitious and locked in. Everything had to be done at like 2 minutes. He wore like a t-shirt of a dead rocker every game, and just like all these things. I'm like, oh my God, is this what you have to do in pro hockey? And so I was like, I don't think I could do that. So I just tried to stay as even keel as possible. Played with another guy, Manny Legacy, who I think we all know, awesome guy, but he didn't talk on the day of the game. So it literally,
like nobody,
no, anybody. He would go to lunch with his wife, and it would be by text. So we played with Keith Kachuk. Yeah, I'm dead serious. We played with Keith Kachuk that year. He was on the team, and he'd go around to every guy and say, "Yeah, Mace, let's go. You got to do this." And TJ, come on, you got to do this. And everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go, Walt. Let's go, buddy." And then he'd get to Manny, and he'd say, "Manny, let's go. We need you between the pipes. We need you kicking." And he wouldn't say anything back. So Walt would always answer for him, said, "Yeah, good job, Walt. We need you too, buddy." And all this stuff. So it was awesome. But yeah, so I would say I've played with both spectrums of the, superstitious and not superstitious. I just tried to just be, I guess, normal, even though I don't think any goalies really are, but as normal as possible.
That is amazing. Yeah. I've never heard.
That's a great story.
I've never heard that story before. I might try that.
Yeah.
We're only going to
not
text.
talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I'm only going to text with my husband from now on.
Yeah.
Chris, let's talk a little bit about the Preds and what's been going on. I wanted to ask you specifically to start about the top line, kind of reconfigured. We're trying to figure out exactly how long Stamkos has been in the middle for it, but what has this top line been able to do recently for them?
Yeah, I mean, they've been searching they really wanted the top two line combo. Last season, O'Reilly, Forsberg, Nyquist had a really great year, all career years. And they really wanted that line to stick at the start and then find a way to play Stamkos, Marchessault, and then somebody in the middle. But that's been such a big challenge for the team over the course of the year. And finally, O'Reilly got hurt. So we decided to move Stamkos to center with Forsberg and Marchessault. Marchessault's, been wanting to play with, some top end talent. And they got that. It was almost instant chemistry. And what happened was Stamkos was able to utilize his speed. I think it's a lot easier to do at center than at wing. So he's been so much more effective, kind of winding up in the defensive zone. Andrew Burnett loves, guys just to anticipate and use your speed, blow the zone, have the D-man move the puck right away and really try to push that way. And the team had really been struggling to do that. But once he moved Stamkos to center, you really started to see his game open up. The confidence started coming back. Philip Forsberg, who 48 goals last year, hasn't scored in a month, but he's racking up assists. I think he's leading the league in assists in that time. And then Marchessault has been on fire. And I just think it's a really good balance of talent, and Marchessault has just been driving the net. A lot of his goals are just right around the net, and these guys are getting him the puck. So they just had instant chemistry, and then all the other lines seem to fall in place. So the Preds are playing a lot more like we expected them early in the season. Whether it's enough to get all the way back into the race is yet to be seen, but they're playing a lot better for sure.
Adam Lowry pointed out the other day, Chris, that after Christmas holidays, everybody's system's in place, and that's why it looks like everybody's. It's a lot tougher to win, a lot tougher to get to the front of the net and get into your system. What is the Preds' identity, and have they reached what they want to be yet?
I think the last couple weeks, even in the losses, the game right after the break against St. Louis, our last game was kind of, you don't know what you're going to get in those games sometimes coming out of the break, and we got the other end of that. It wasn't a great start, but they're starting to be a lot harder to play against. I think they've reached a point where they feel good about all four lines, the ability to contribute. You don't have to really hide anybody in the defensive zone. You can just kind of roll them. I think the defenseman, Nick Blankenberg, is got called up here, and Adam Willsby, a couple guys that started the year in Milwaukee, and they've been really good additions. They just have such good ability to skate, move the puck up the ice, join in the offense as well. And Andrew Burnett really likes skaters back there, guys that he wants the D-man to move the puck right away opposed to carrying it and then join the rush in the secondary attack. And lately, the last, I would say 2 or 3 weeks, you've started to see the team and what their identity wants to be a lot harder to play against, obviously, than they were early in the season. And they're starting to score goals. So I don't think it's quite there, but it's close.
So when you think of the first meeting between these two teams and the 4-1 Preds win, what do you think Nashville can take from that game to try to, for their sake, have the same sort of impact and result tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jets were on a terrible trip at that point. It was a tough trip, a long trip for them. But having said that, that was during the Preds were really inconsistent then, but they found a way to elevate their game. I think when you play a team like Winnipeg, and you're a team that struggled like the Preds, I think there's a little bit of a fear factor. You kind of, everybody's ready to play, because if you don't show up, good things are not going to happen. And I think the way that Winnipeg's been playing, I mean, they don't really have any holes in their game. They got their top guys are really playing hard on both sides of the puck. Obviously Hellebuck and the defense have been really good. So I think if you're Nashville, like they did back in that game, they're going to be ready to play, because they're in a desperate time. If they want any chance of getting back into the race and trying to salvage the season and make the Cinderella run again in the second half, they're going to have to try to beat Winnipeg in one or both of these games at home, which is obviously not an easy task.
No, unfortunately, I don't know if there's any concerts in between now and when you guys are back on January 7th for.
Well played.
Well played. What you had to make.
Yeah.
He put it right there for it about trying to, the Cinderella story. Certainly that was.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
That. We can do karaoke though. I think there's got to be a karaoke bar.
That would be amazing. That would be fantastic. Mace, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you at the rink here tonight, and always enjoy your stories, which are great all the time. But I've never heard that Manny Legacy one before. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate it so much. Chris.
See you, Chris.
See you later. Take care.
Such a great guy. Obviously, he was with the Jets when
we got to clip that story.
When they first, it was so funny.
Yeah.
But when they first came here in 2011-12 season. So
lots of love about his gold mask when he was here. So
understandably so. Okay. We are going to wrap because we've gone a little bit over right now, but we want to thank very much Andi Petrillo joining us. Again, the game tonight, it is a 6:30 game, but they start at 6 o'clock on Prime. Mm-hmm. If you don't have it, so you can sign up there's always free trials.
Yeah. Some way, somehow. I'm sure somebody in the chat will tell you how to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it but you can Amazon, you can sign up for free trials as well. Take a look at it, though. Some great coverage that they have. Looking forward to their broadcast here tonight. Chris Mason, always fun to have on as well. So appreciate him taking a few minutes to join us, and all of you as well, as this holiday season continues on. There's lots of great things going on in the chat right now. Lots of people talking. To see there's someone in here, first time viewer. Nice.
So
hopefully I'll be back.
And
don't always wear
agreed,
tubes, by the
and
way.
Alex agreed with you. Most underrated Jet is Vlad Nemesnikov.
Thank you. There was about 4 or 5 people that agree with me in the chat, so I'm going to screenshot that and take care of that for the rest of it.
And don't forget, if you are coming to the game here tonight, toques, scarves, and gloves on sale for 40% off. There's a ton of great choices out there right now. Our model JT has shown you a couple of them, but take a look there.
A little concerned about your lack of commitment, but we'll deal with that another time.
Well, it's another discussion. We could talk about that tomorrow because
sure.
we will be back tomorrow because the Jets are playing, remember, New Year's Eve in Denver. We will be here, though, at 12:30 as well. We will talk not only tonight's game, set up tomorrow's game, but hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about Canada US as well with the World Junior Championship going on. Everyone always loves that matchup for New Year's Eve.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks so much for checking in, everyone. Have a great day.